Hello everybody, my name is Sarah. Welcome to Kids Following Jesus. So this is the second Sunday of Lent, and so we will be talking more about Jesus' life here on earth. But first, I have a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to be making a cake, and the recipe calls for baking soda. Now, I have two containers here, and one of them is baking soda, and one of them is baking powder. Now, I know it's very important to use the correct one, or else my cake isn't going to turn out like I want it to. So I want it to be fluffy and moist and tasty, and not flat like a pancake. So, they both look very similar. They're white and powdery, and they don't really smell, but I happen to know that baking powder and vinegar don't really do much, but baking soda and vinegar react together. So, got some vinegar here, and now that does smell. So we know that's what that is. It's not water. And we're going to take a little bit. We'll do this one first. Take a little bit of that. Get a little bit of something. Not much though. Okay, let's take a little bit of this one. Oh. You guys see that? See how it changes? I think we found our baking soda. All right, well now I know which one to use. That was pretty fun, wasn't it? Now, did you see how that changed? It changed the color. It was really clear, and then I threw that in, it got kind of white and bubbly. Well, in the Bible, Jesus also had a time where he changed his appearance. Now, there's a couple places that we can look to find that story. And when this happened, this is called the Transfiguration. Okay, so Transfiguration is basically just a fancy way to say Jesus got super white and shiny, okay? Now, in our Bibles, let me grab our Bible here. In the Bible, there's 3 different places that you can find the story. So you might want to write these down because, of course, I want you to go and read them or have them read to you sometime later in the week. So you will find it in Matthew chapter 17, verses 1 through 8, and Mark chapter 9, verses 2 through 8, and also you'll find it in Luke chapter 9, verses 28 through 36. Okay? So go ahead, they'll be up on your screen, write them down so that you can go and read the full story in each place throughout this week. Now I'll give you a little bit of a gist of what you're going to find there, okay? So during the Transfiguration, Jesus and 3 of his disciples, Peter, James, and John, go up on a mountaintop. And while they're on top of this mountain, that's where the Transfiguration happens. Now, these 3 disciples have been with Jesus for a while, so they've seen him do miraculous things, and you would think that they would be for sure knowing who Jesus really is. But maybe they were still having some doubts. And we have to assume that other people who weren't disciples who had come into contact with Jesus probably had some doubts about who he was. But these three who were with him, we don't know for sure, but maybe they weren't quite sure that Jesus really was the Son of God. So while they're on this mountaintop, Jesus changes in appearance and they see it happen. And not only does he change in appearance, but two other guys show up. And these guys are Moses and Elijah. Now they were alive well before Jesus and had already passed away. So this is a very big deal. So those two show up, and then a cloud appears, and then they hear a voice. And the voice says, "This is my beloved Son, listen to him." Now I would think after this, if they were having any doubts before, that they weren't having any doubts now, that Jesus really was the Son of God. Now, what about all of us? Do we sometimes have doubts about who Jesus is? Now, we don't get to have proof like the disciples did because we don't get to see Jesus. But we have our Bibles that help tell us exactly who Jesus is. And when we look in our Bibles, we can find all about Jesus and his life here on earth and what he did for us. And when we read the word, we listen to him. So during the week, make sure you go ahead and read those stories and you find out more about the transfiguration of Jesus, because it was something that he did while he was here on earth. All right, everyone, let's take the time to pray together. Dear God, thank you for the truth of your word. Help us trust it and keep our faith in you, even when we can't see or feel you. Thank you for Jesus. Amen. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me for Kids Following Jesus this week, and I'll be back next week.